Hello, everyone. We will start the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners with a new chair, so if it's a bit clunky, you'll know why. February 3rd, 11 a.m. Please turn off your cell phones. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Seconded.
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have community information items. Do you want to start, Elsie?
I don't have any this week, thank you.
Okay. Staff in the Lake County government team here had a win during what a lot of people know has been a period of us going on a diet, tightening the belt. We were awarded a $62,112 award through the SB 230 grant. That's gonna go towards the county's costs on the summit stage. Go team.
Good team.
Registration is open for the Nuestro Legado Outdoor Equity Summit. It's gonna take place on March 20th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The summit will take place on March 20th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and film night will be on March 21st with the premiere of the newest film in the Outlier series. Both days' events will take place at CMC in Leadville. For Lake County's seniors, February looks like a packed month. They've got the Valentine's Day celebration on February 12th at noon. That has a party, potluck, and bingo. Lunch and learn sessions on the 5th and the 19th, covering energy assistance programs and joint health. Tax time help from professional VITA volunteers to sign up for meals, excursions, and events, or if you have any questions or suggestions, the Aging Well Coordinator can be reached at 719-427-7417. And just want to give a big thank you to Rochelle Collins for running such an awesome program down there at the Senior Center. That's all I have for today.
Very good, Andy, thank you. Let's see, I guess we're gonna decide this Friday if we're gonna push the LOPIT back to March 23rd. So we'll let you know. And then the other thing I had is Parkville Water is gonna donate water to the college and they'll make snow for the ski joring. So at least we'll have ski joring, we'll have some nice man-made snow, so all those flat landings will be stickable.
Far out.
That's all I got. Please note that meeting recordings are available. A reminder that their regular meetings and work sessions are recorded and available on the Lake County Government YouTube channel. They're transcribed and indexed. The recordings can be watched at a time that's best for you. Subscribe and stay informed on county decisions.
Can I ask a quick question before we move on? I'm so sorry. I've gotten a couple emails from Dana Wood with the IMTPR about supporting various projects, like in Vale and Eagle.
Build grant?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, you're on the IMTPR, right, for us?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, like, are there gonna be opportunities for us to be applying for some of these projects, or like, where do you see us having an opportunity on IMTPR?
As I understand it, the notices are if we object to what they're doing. One is a pedestrian bridge in Silt over the highway, and the other one's an entry. An update to their entry just for design. So as far as us applying for those? I don't know, or is there a conflict, Candace?
No, I don't mean for those projects in particular.
Right.
I'm just seeing requests from other communities in our IMTPR
Mhm.
that we would support. I'm just wondering how are you seeing us getting leverage on that, in that group, for some of those projects to come to us? Not those specific projects, but projects
Sure.
from the IMTPR.
I'll look into it also.
Thank you.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Unless Candace would like to.
I was gonna say, that's where we'll just be working with Stuart and Michael to start to identify some projects that align with funding that is available. I feel like it begs a bigger question, which I think since we're in here all together, when we're getting those requests, we aren't rejecting anybody's, or I'm certainly not, but I just wonder, when we get other letters of support, we have to pick who we would support and then not support others.
Yeah.
And so not responding is saying we support them, so I wonder if there's any conflict in, I think since you've been part of TPR meetings, if there's any, us supporting multiple groups, is there any issue with that? And the same way the letter of support is. Could you ask next time you're there, just for
I will.
understanding?
What's the reason that we wouldn't support if we were going for the same grant?
If we're going for the same grant, we don't support other people, but also usually if you have two people that have asked for a letter of support, you don't give both of them one, but maybe this is a little different because of the context.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to know.
I'll look
Yeah.
into it and clarify.
Thank
Hang on
you.
just a second. Okay. Public comment is available for residents wishing to speak on an agenda item or another issue not on the agenda. To make a public comment, residents may request to speak by raising their hand in person, using the raised hand feature in Zoom, and sending a message in chat. So at this time, we will start taking public comment. And just raise your hands. Please tell us your name.
Craig Schreiber.
Okay.
What do those initials stand for?
Intermountain Transportation, Regional Transportation District, or IMTPR? Intermountain Transportation.
Regional Transportation District.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Or something.
I'll look into that too. Since I sit on the board, a good thing to know. Okay, I know there's some other folks that would like to make public comment. We're not gonna ask for your address, just please tell us your name.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm David Carner, and my property is in the north eastern part of the county. It's a mining claim called the Mini Placer, and I'm a business owner. My business is called Climax Revival, and what makes up that business is primarily my backcountry ski hut, Carner's Cabin. But I also have other lines of business like Borough Picnics and Sherpa Services, which is what I'm doing this morning. That's why I'm dressed the way I am. I wanted to comment on the issue before the board next meeting, the 17th, and that is the proposed moratorium on virtually all new CUPs, vacation lodge applications, special event venues, group camps, and any others. I was first made aware that this was on council's agenda last Thursday, and I am somebody who holds a special event venue CUP that was conditionally approved by the predecessor board in 2023, and I recently subdivided my property last November to two 35-acre parcels, and so I am coming before a future council and planning meeting asking for a new CUP for my 35-acre parcel that I'm going to retain. There's the other parcel is under contract to be sold to Vail Mountain School, who is also going to be making application, possibly has already done so. I just wanted to express my extreme opposition to the idea of a moratorium. I think it's, would be very unfair to not only, future applicants, people in the pipeline, and people like myself who have already successfully navigated the system and been held to a very high standard. In the staff report, suggesting this moratorium, several of my issues were, stated, different contradictions and confusion, but I was held to that standard, and therefore I think that not allowing people like myself, other entrepreneurs to have a hearing would be unfair to them. And it would also just exacerbate the problem by postponing the inevitable. So rather than accept the Planning and Zoning Board's recommendation for a moratorium and postponing all applicants for 6 months, I think that you should, my recommendation is that you address the inconsistencies in the code and give community and planning development, opportunity to make those changes on an individual basis.
Thank you,
Thanks.
David.
David, can I just clarify, are you already in the pipeline for a CUP?
I just applied this morning
Okay.
before coming here,
Okay,
so
good.
yes. I understand that, that because I might have gotten my application in before the deadline, that, I'm exempt from the moratorium. I don't know if I agree with that, because the way I read the draft resolution, it talks about putting the brakes on not only applicants, but processing and approval. So I'm a little nervous that, that is not gonna save me. But I think, I'm speaking for all the others who are, that have not put their applications in.
Totally.
I think it's gonna be a huge, devastating slap in the face to them to find out that this is, a moratorium has been passed. And I don't really feel like it, the whole question has had enough time to be out in the public to get your feel on what the sentiment is. in the
Yeah,
community.
thank you, David.
Well, David, it's on our next regular meeting's agenda. It was taken off this agenda. It wasn't quite ready, so come to the next meeting and
I will.
that gives us 2 weeks also to look into it. And give it more thought.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have public comment? Craig?
Craig Schreiber. I support David in his work. It's been fun to have him in town and have him be part of the community. He's one of the good guys, I think, that comes before us. Puts together great recreation for people. I'll keep it brief. Just, I too would like to not see CUPs turned off. It's a great way for people to plan their property, whether it's Sterling Mudge or anybody else. It just seems like it's the way in to say, can I please use my land? I've got this idea and I'd like to move ahead. So you can identify the bad guys, the developers that aren't careful. But David's not one of them, that's for sure.
How do you identify those folks? Do they got black hats or?
Yeah, they're good guys. It's good to catch the bad guys.
Alright, anybody else? Okay, this
Candace,
is-
can you click to the Zoom to see
So
if
make
anybody's
sure we're not
using
missing
anything?
anyone online.
anybody online like to make a public comment? Okay, I don't see anybody. The public comment portion of this meeting is closed. The chair will call, We are gonna move on to the agenda. Agenda item number 1 is discussion and consideration of the first amended operating agreement between Lake County Board of County Commissioners and Mount Elbert MX, led by Matt Hobbs, our county attorney.
My bifocals on so I can look at you and look at the document at the same time. So this has been something that we've been working with Tyson, who approached the board, I think, last fall at some point in time, of taking an assignment of the existing operating agreement from Mount Elbert Moto to a new organization that he and a group of other folks have established. The existing operating agreement does allow for assignment of the operating agreement with approval from the board, so that will be before you, whether you want to consider it. In terms of considering the assignment, we're also have drafted a new operating agreement that addresses some things that Tyson wanted to see from his perspective in terms of operating facility up there, and in terms of stuff I saw where we could sort of tighten up some liability issues that I saw for the county. Obviously, it's a motocross track, so you're never gonna eliminate risk. That's just not gonna happen. It's gonna be there, so having really good waivers of liability is probably your first line of defense, and Tyson has sent me those to look at. I noted, I haven't got back to Tyson yet, but one thing they're missing is that they don't waive the county's liability in their waivers, so pretty big oversight there, not having the county in those waivers as well. So I'll get back to you on those when we have those. The other issue that I saw is the existing operating agreement. It perhaps got the board too involved in sort of the operation of the track, which is a little bit of a paradox in that if you become too involved, somebody can come after you and be like, well, you should have known this was happening, you should have known this was unsafe. And that's where liability happens. So I've tried to dial that back a little bit and basically put the onus on operating this on the operators. And you know, you never know how those things are going to shake out, but in my mind, probably they should and are bearing the brunt of the liability. And that's why people have insurance, and you know, they'll be inspecting their truck, I assume, and all those other things. So those are the big changes. There's a lot of red in here, but really that's what we're meant to address. Some of it was repetitive, you know, like having the term and fees basically say the exact same thing in two different places. You know, limited that to one. I made it pretty clear that the allocation of control is on with these guys. There's some issues that need to be cleaned up, I think, that Elsa brought to my attention in terms of just the fee schedule and how that's worded. I think we can word that a little better. I think the intent is that, you know, they pay a flat fee, and then the parties come together every year and sort of renegotiate it. We say, how'd your year go? There's provisions in here to provide financials, so we can have them provide that to adjust the fee. Tyson wanted some language in there to cap that fee at, you know, CPI or something like that in terms of the increases. What else? We probably need some better definition. They need to provide an operating plan to the county. Probably just need a deadline. Maybe talk with Tyson about what's a realistic. In the operating plan, I would expect to see things like, how are you going to make this available for the public benefit, public purpose, since this is public property? You know, just having, I don't know that that's been provided in the past. It sounds like it maybe hasn't been. So maybe having a deadline in there on when that's going to happen. I forgot what else we talked about. Also, those are the two big ones.
Those are the big ones.
Anyway, happy to entertain any questions, but I think the memo kind of outlined most of what the changes were as well.
It looks so much better. I really appreciate all the changes you made. I know I said that already, but just for the public, it looks so much better than it has in the past.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the like thoughtful, objective differentiation between operating it and also having some sort of accountability for public use of public land. Ty, I'm really excited about you guys
Thank you.
being up here. Yeah. And I want to approve this. I just have a few questions.
Okay.
Okay, sweet. Number one, in section 5, section 5B and C, it talks about y'all as the operators providing financial reports to us if we request them within 60 days of the end of each year. And I just think it'd be great, but then in the next section, C, it has between October 1st to December 1st, the time where we would get together and discuss how are things going? Are we gonna renegotiate? Have we incurred any costs that we should consider? And I was just wondering if you would be open to potentially moving that to like January. I want us to be able to like see the books, lay it all out, see our books on what we've incurred, and then be able to discuss from there.
Yeah.
Whereas if we do it in October or November, neither of us will know yet.
Yeah,
Our
I
full books.
completely agree. I mean, it should probably be definitely after the first of the year and maybe even, what do I think? I'm just thinking tax season
Yeah,
a little bit, you know, maybe we push that into April or something, you know, so,
I just don't wanna go so far that you guys are all of a sudden,
yeah.
you know, you're busy with getting ready.
Always.
I know,
But yeah, I mean, I would think, let's say February,
okay.
you know,
And then, but then the tricky part is, are we negotiating for the following year?
right,
So, anyway, maybe we just let the first 2 years get under us, the first year get under us.
Yeah.
And renegotiate for 2028.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I'm good with that.
okay, and then, I know Matt and I talked about it, but in section 7, the weed control on the premises, do we have like a weed policy? Like which weeds are they supposed to be controlling, just so that we're not just saying, hey, all weeds, and then y'all are like, I don't know, I just want you to have a little more clear guidelines about what matters to us and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Matt, did you find anything on that?
I didn't, I knew there was a third one, and I just remembered.
Yeah, yeah.
Was what it was, and I didn't have time yesterday.
It's all good. It's all good.
But, you know, assuming the board wants to move forward with this, I think these are things we can address on the back end.
Awesome.
It's approved subject to legal review.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, and then, I think it'd be great for us to actually have a buy-when in this for the operating plan, like Matt said. For like when we would actually receive y'all's operating plan, cause that's in section 10E. And that's really where we have some accountability for making sure that, like Matt said, that it's already written into here that the operator will provide services and facilities to the public that are accessible for all community members. And that can be interpreted in so many different ways.
Right.
So I would just wanna see like how you all are interpreting that through your services.
Okay.
So it'd just be nice for us to know, like, by when are you supposed to be providing that to the county every year, no matter who's sitting up here?
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
you,
I don't really have it's really whatever, you know, I mean.
okay,
For this
for this year, what
season-
feels good?
For this
Yeah.
season, I would say end of April,
Okay,
just because there are so many moving parts to get this place up and running and operational under the new operators.
yeah,
And we're meeting, we just met last week to talk about things.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, a moving target right now on when we're gonna be opening.
yeah,
Pending snow if it ever comes. So, yeah, I would love to say end of April. I'd
Sweet.
like to get you guys something, and then we'd have a much better idea of all of it. You know,
Awesome.
we're working with a web designer right now and to try to, you know, work through some of the, you know, online waivers to get people to, you know, be able to sign up, pay online, show up without somebody at the gate, you know, so all those things are gonna come into play
Nice.
closer to springtime, for sure.
So maybe this year, end of April, but then in following years, it can be with that whole
Yes.
convening.
Yeah,
Okay,
100%.
yeah,
Because it's
awesome.
not gonna really change
No.
much, is my guess.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's all, yeah. Thank you.
I just wanna echo the first part of your statements about pretty excited about what's to come for the track up there. Some of the plans I've seen are pretty exciting, especially expanding the beginner/kids area to get some more separation there. That's gonna be awesome. I think that was sorely needed for a while, and your guys' ideas on that are great. Looking forward to see what you guys do up there, and pretty stoked for what's on next.
Yeah, thanks for your guys' support, appreciate it, really excited.
Thanks.
Do we wanna do a motion on that one?
Sure.
Let me just say something here
Okay.
too. I like that it's a little bit longer than just 1 year. It goes through December 31st, 2028.
Mhm.
So that's nice for you guys.
Yeah, and with the option to extend,
Yeah.
hopefully, if things go well.
Tyson, can you give me any example of what the cost would be to the county?
As far as,
There's some language in here about you reimbursing us for costs that the county might incur in the facilities. Are you using our trucks or?
no, there's gonna be zero cost to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, if
Are they
anything
part of it?
historically, Mike Irwin might know a little bit about if there's ever been anything historically, but nothing I can think of really.
No, I think we've got one tractor out there that, been there for quite a while, and the old water truck.
Yeah,
Part of my impression was that Stuart was working on being able to parse out where we pay insurance across all of our properties. Like up at Ski Cooper,
Right.
like at the golf course, like at the motocross park. I think when I read that, that's what I was inferring, is us doing our due diligence about how much is it costing us to even have that property.
Yeah.
But that would be Stuart work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm psyched for you too. Thanks for taking it over. It's not easy.
thank you, yeah. Appreciate it, guys.
Okay, I will move to approve the first amended operating agreement between Lake County Board of County Commissioners and Mount Elbert MX pending legal review.
I'll second that.
Take it to a vote.
Aye.
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 Thanks, Tyson.
Passes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Tyson.
Thank you. Yeah.
You don't want to stay for the rest of it?
I don't think so. Right. I think I'm gonna move on to my real job.
I don't know if anyone else wants to leave, I have a pretty good cough.
Okay, let me just introduce you here. Second item on the agenda is discussion and consideration of the fourth quarter public trustee report, led by Patrick Smith, our treasurer and public trustee.
I'm really not gonna say much. I think we should have reviewed it. The more I talk, the more I wanna cough.
Okay.
We've had 3 new foreclosures in the last 2 weeks. And not like the numbers we had before I started in 2010. Like 66, 67. Mine are always less than 10. So that's about all I really have to report.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you,
I
Patrick.
acknowledge you.
Thanks.
You are acknowledged
Acknowledged.
officially.
Bye.
Okay, item number 3, discussion and consideration of the renewal of the software as a service agreements, otherwise known as SaaS, with Patagonia Health and Public Health Electronic Medical Records System, led by Kelsey Maxey, our Public Health Director.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kelsey.
So Patagonia Health has been our electronic medical record system, EMR, for over 5 years. We've historically had 1-year contracts with them. There's been a lot of turnover in our staff and everyone kept wanting to reevaluate. Are we really gonna keep using Patagonia? Is this the best option, et cetera, et cetera. So over the past 2 years, we have really evaluated that, and this is the cheapest system that meets the need of our small public health department. And moving from it would be expensive and unnecessary, so we are wanting to move to a 5-year contract instead of a 1-year contract for about a 25% cost savings. Yeah,
Get it, girl.
and time saving, so we don't have to do this every year. So that is my proposal, and happy to answer any questions.
Save money, save effort. I don't have a lot of questions on that.
Sounds good.
Do you wanna do it, Andy?
I would like to make a motion to approve the renewal of a software. Quick question, if we're switching to a 5-year instead of a 1-year, is this still a renewal?
5-year renewal.
Yes.
Renewal for 5 years, alright.
It's a renewal for a 5-year term.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the renewal for a 5-year term of the software as a service agreement with Patagonia Health for Public Health's electronic medical records system.
Seconded.
To a vote?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Item number 4, discussion and consideration of a professional services agreement with Cloud City Conservation Center to provide environmental education programs for youth from 2026 through 2030 as part of the Get Outdoors Colorado funding awarded to Lake County, led by Duncan Chisholm, Parks Rec and Open Space Director. Hello, Duncan.
Hi, good morning. Yes, so this is part of our funding agreement with Great Outdoors Colorado for the Get Outdoors Legal Coalition. We have a sub-grantee with C4 to deliver environmental education programs and nature-based learning in the Lake County School District. So this agreement formalises that, and therefore we can go back to GoCo to start drawing down that money. Any questions?
My daughter's gonna go do it this afternoon. She's very excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Andy, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay, I will move to approve the PSA with Cloud City Conservation Center to provide environmental education programs for youth from 2026 to 2030 as part of the GoCo funding awarded to Lake County.
Second that?
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Thank you,
Duncan.
Duncan.
Moving right along, number 5 is our discussion and consideration of resolution 2026-05. A resolution of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners regarding the Timber Ranch Major Subdivision Final Plat, led by Ann Schneider, our Community Planning and Development Director. Hello, Ann.
Thank you. Hello, Board. So we are bringing to you today the final plat for the Timber Ranch subdivision. This is going through a 2-step land use review process. And so what we're looking at today is the major subdivision that's creating the 4 tracks A through D. And code requires this to be an administrative review process, which we work closely with the county engineer and legal to review all of the conditions of the preliminary plan that was approved just about a year ago. It was February 18th last year. So I think it's noteworthy to just go through briefly those conditions of approval and explain how they're being met at this point in the application process. So one of those conditions was for the developer to collaborate with the Regional Housing Authority on creating deed restrictions. This has made progress, but will be addressed at PUD. So recognizing that we combine the conditions of approval for major subdivision as well as PUD. So I will highlight as we go through which ones are really relative to the major subdivision that we're asking for approval of today, and which ones will be coming up as we further develop track B, which will create the PUD and further subdivide the property. So number one, the developer has made progress on. We are working directly with Becky on this. We've been given an update. It's going before the board to approve the deed restriction, but we'll finalize that as part of the PUD final plat review. The second condition was a recommendation from the Colorado Geologic Survey, and we've been in communication with Amy Crandall, the engineer representing CGS. There was a kind of their environmental review team, CTL Thompson, had provided a recommendation for geophysical surveying to look at any type of underground voids or hazards in Timber Ranch. Upon further review of both their environmental firm and CGS, they reduced that requirement to a recommendation for the developer and not a condition of their approval of the major subdivision or PUD. So we've noted within that communication, have provided that within the staff report, that is, and this was based largely on the environmental firm CTL Thompson, considering that this area really wasn't subject to the degree of mining that's evident within in our region. And so there really wasn't that evidence, immediate evidence that this was an area of great concern. And we would concur with that in its current location. So both parties mutually agreed, along with county staff, that this could just be a recommendation for the developer to consider. But CGS removed it as a condition. The next item is the statutory requirement for either a school land dedication or cash payment fee in lieu. And so the developer has paid. We do have receipt from the school district that they have paid for the major subdivision impact of that, and then there will be further fee due at the time of the PUD. But for this stage, the school district is in receipt of those funds. Number 4 requires oversight and monitoring of the site as it goes into development to ensure that CBPHE's best practices are adhered to as far as on-site construction and grading practices. The plan does call for environmental controls. Will be on-site ensuring that those are happening and making sure that best practices are in place. So that'll be an ongoing part of the site construction as the development continues forth. Number 5 was making sure that all of the county engineers' comments were addressed, and so we have satisfactorily conducted that review with SEH, and they have signed off on the subdivision, and the PUD is, we just got those comments back last night, so we'll be working on the next step of the PUD. Number 6 was that the developer would get a letter from Colorado Parks and Wildlife for best practices again to adhere to considerations over wildlife habitat. So we've received that as well, and we're encouraging the developer to consider that as part of the recorded covenants for the PUD. Number 7 will be addressed. This was the requirement for the crosswalk and signage and striping for the pedestrian crosswalk. This is part of the improvements that will be within the SIA for the PUD. So we're already in work on that SIA review, both with engineering and legal. Number 8 was specific to the major subdivision that we're looking for approval today. We wanted to extend that sidewalk easement into track A, which runs concurrent or adjacent to Evergreen Drive. So we just wanted to ensure that we had that ability for connectivity moving forward. So the major subdivision does have a dedication of that sidewalk to the county. And number 9 were just all statements made in the application and with hearing by the applicant. And so based on the review and the evidence that we provided in the staff report, we are recommending approval of the Timber Ranch major subdivision and have provided suggested motions for approval. So I believe, unless Matt would direct us differently, that we're looking for a motion to approve and then a motion to, a motion for the subdivision in regards to the request for approval. And then if that passes, then a motion for the resolution.
I think you can just have one motion if you're
Okay.
gonna put the,
Okay.
either vote resolution up or down.
Okay, that
Or
sounds
with
great.
conditions, yeah.
Yeah, and there are suggested motions of approval in there that I think that you could incorporate the resolution in.
Okay.
Is that you or me? Oh,
It's me, I have some questions about, this came across our desks like, it was like one of the very first things that happened for us as new commissioners. And, the one thing that I noticed right away was that every route finding app puts people through a really problematic intersection to access this. And if they do this at full bore, it's 82 homes. That was never really addressed or followed up on, and I'm just, that ship has already sailed pretty much, hasn't it? Like, there's nothing else we have at this desk to do to address the idea that 82, potentially 82 homes worth of people are gonna be hitting that intersection at Mount Lincoln and Saguache Drive. That's already a nightmare.
That was part of the traffic review, the traffic study that was performed by the applicant and then reviewed by our engineers. But yes, it was an issue that you brought up. There was a concern addressed during preliminary. The board did move forward with approval of the preliminary based on the engineering reviews, both the report and by our county engineer.
Okay, and just, it's, you know, 1 year in, I still feel like I'm kind of new at some of these processes. So I just wanted to make sure like that ship has sailed, like we've already lost our window to have any kind of, to address anything with that. So as far as the development itself, I don't have any issues. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything I wasn't aware of that changed with the road traffic, with the traffic study. I have no further questions.
yeah.
Okay, let me get back to my language here. This was number 5, alright, make a motion to approve resolution 2026-5, a resolution of Lake County Board of County Commissioners regarding the Timber Ranch major subdivision final plat.
Seconded.
To a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, nothing.
Matt will just work to coordinate when the plat arrives. It will need, we'll need to schedule a signing
Okay,
to get all of the recording done. So
Sure.
we are waiting for it to arrive back from the lender.
yeah,
And as soon as that happens, we'll start scheduling that.
okay. No problem. Okay.
Just clapping, just clapping. You're doing great, Matt.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Finally, number 6, discussion and consideration of an amendment to commercial recreation permit file number 25-39 for High Country Tours to include summer tours led by Ann Snyder.
Thank you. I'll take 2 here. So really want to recognize that we have moved the work session on OHV and some of the critical issues that were brought up in our last discussion to later in the month. But based on the ask that in the amendment application that's been brought in from High Country Tours, really felt that there was an emergent need to move that request along, and that those issues around seasonal closures of the road and maintaining the quality of the grooming on the east side were really not, those outcomes weren't dependent upon reviewing this proposal for an amendment to the existing commercial recreation permit. I'm wondering if we can pull up the map that we shared in Teams, because I think it'd be really great to be able to see exactly, because I know last time we were, the map would be really beneficial to be able to see. Yeah, it's amendments, that one is. And then it's that one, the updated map. So that we can really look at this together well. So High Country Tours is asking to increase the use that they were permitted for under their commercial recreation permit, realizing that they've already been approved for their winter operations. So as you look at this map and the trails that they use and the roadways that they use, we're specifically today talking about the red county roads. The blue and is private land that the High Country Tours has permission. The purple is areas that they are working on through their CUP, and the green are BLM areas. Am I right, Tim, generally?
Yes.
Okay. So the summer, the request today, what's before the board, is asking to increase the degree of use under the permit to allow OHV wheeled vehicles, meaning ATVs and side-by-sides. The permit is for snowmobile use. So they would use all of the roads in red. They would like to extend their route to include County Road 3 up to Mosquito Pass, right at the border of Lake and Park. There's a good turnaround area that they could turn around and come back into the county for tours. So it's a slight modification to the original permit to just include that area for wheeled OHV tours. This application, we did review it. We did send it to Office of Emergency Management and got a response similar to what we got at the original application. That matches up with the condition of approval that we'll be working with the applicant on their emergency management plan, just with some recommendations and any gaps that were identified. It was also, we received and have been working closely with Michael Irwin, Public Works, on identifying, looking at the route, as well as the ability to transport OHVs to support the tour. And so on the right are all of the different potential parking sites that would accommodate the trailer to transport in and out each day to support the tours. And so there are 3 different locations right there off County Road 1.
Candace, could you scroll it down a little bit so we can see all the red?
Yeah, because you'll see County Road coming in, and then you'll see on 5th Street there, the parking area that supports the Mineral Belt Trail, over more by the Wedding Cake, and then along the right-of-way on, there's a good amount of space along the right-of-way on County Road 1. And so our suggestion, if the amendment is approved, to approve all 3 of these as suitable areas, and that way can kind of ensure that we're managing access and we're not impeding access for other users. So if there's 3 different options, we're hoping that that will help just ensure access for everyone. The bigger ask that's being asked of the board is kind of the overall volume. So we've worked really hard with Tim on looking at what that would mean. And so what he's proposing today is not to exceed more than 4 tours a day with a maximum number of machines of 30. And so what we've provided in the staff report is what is the existing degree of use that's been permitted for this season in the East Side Mining District, which equates to Leadville ATV having 4 tours per day with up to 10 machines. Leadville Off-Road Adventures, they use a Razor or UTV 3 tours per day with up to 4 guest machines and 1 guide per tour. The dirt bike tours are 1 tour per day with 3 guests and 1 guide. And then the adventure bike operations are 1 tour per day, 4 guests and 1 guide. So we provided some discussion and thought about that in the recommendation. There's always the potential, one of the things that we were really hoping as a goal with this permitting is to really create baseline data to better understand what is the carrying capacity on the east side, are the impacts being adequately mitigated, and then have a measurable way to respond accordingly. So there is potentially, the idea of, is there a starting point with incremental increases over time as those can be measured and looked at. So don't know if that is an option that either High Country Tours would like to entertain or the board would, but that is one of the goals of the permitting or several of the goals that we're hoping to achieve by really creating measurable data to really understand the impact. The ordinance as well was really designed to encourage and promote a really balanced access for all different user groups, and so we're hoping that through the administration of both of these tools that we're able to achieve that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, also give Tim an opportunity to fill in anything that maybe I've missed.
I think you did really good, Ann.
Tim, would you like to comment or say anything?
If you guys got questions, I think that's a good place to start.
First questions I'm gonna have are, I'm glad Mike's here because, as someone who's recreated on the east side for almost 30 years, 26, 27 years, those roads are just getting worse. Like they're getting, the route of the Silver Kings, the loops up there, Stumptown, where everybody, not everybody, but there's a decent amount of people who come up here and wanna see all the historic stuff, and those roads are not in the same shape that they used to be. When we do something like setting up like CUP for like gravel trucks, doing any other commercial business, seems like they've gotta chip in something on taking care of the roads. When we do it for snowmobiles, there's the agreement that everybody chips in on the grooming stuff. What do we have in place on the ATVs that's similar? Because I'm coming from the mindset of like the county, we're in a really difficult position of trying to manage our costs and look at where we can save money. And if our roads are getting hammered by increased ATV usage, which, I'm not trying to like single you guys out, like, and I have 4-wheelers, snowmobiles, like I have 10 dirt bikes, like I'm not anti any of this. I think, from an economic development standpoint, for local jobs, business owners, like I really want to support everything on this, but looking at this from the best interest of the county, what do we have the capacity to do and maintain? I'm really
concerned that the east side is at a breaking point. It's maxed out. So what do we have set up in place to help offset this increased traffic and the wear and tear on the roads up there?
So, from what we currently have that we are utilizing is the grooming agreement for right now. So not only is speaking to the integrity of, and the cost of the groom service during winter operations. So part of being able to use our road maintenance agreement is to be able to create that nexus of what the impact is. And so I do see these are annual permits. Part of this permitting process is to gain that data and have an idea of we can arrive at a measurable share of that maintenance. We had started back at this work to initiate a impact fee study with EPS. We decided to put that work on hold just a bit until we got through the One Community project. But this continues to be not just in this area, but in other areas. Where do we recoup that expense for impacts incidental to use from private companies and operations? So I would say currently the tool that we have is the cost share agreement for maintaining the winter. But I do believe that we have to create the data collection to create the nexus to determine what the impact of the use is. And then maybe Michael can speak to just kind of what the overall kind of maintenance of the road impact that he's seen over time with the current degree of use.
Yes. Where to start? So when we grade up on the east side of town, we basically focus on the route of the Silvertons to be able to get cars, two-wheel drive vehicles around up there too, so they can see it also, where you don't have to have a specialized vehicle to get there. That gets quite difficult with the narrow roads up there, and really not materials not left on the road to regrade it and fill in holes and ruts in the road. I'm not against ATVs or UTVs, I have my own. But think about I-70 with truck traffic in one lane. You get these ruts. And now with UTVs and ATVs, those ruts are getting narrower and narrower, so cars can't really maneuver around those, and that's what we try to grade out. We haven't been able to make road base for the last year, so we don't have an excess in that to go put on the roads. My only worry about the whole thing is really the seasons changes, because that's when the roads really get tore up there. Mud bogging and stuff, because then those ruts are always left there. And then the excess traffic, I don't know that they can support 30 vehicles. I mean, if you're up there and you have to wait for 30 of those to go by you on a narrow road, it'll take a while.
If I can highlight that just for a bit. So what I'm trying to do is accommodate our customers. So it's really nice for us to be able to just run when the customers want to go and give them what they're asking for. And by asking for 30 vehicles, that just, with my current operation, that would make it so I'd never have a problem with my limitations. The odds, I've actually never put that many out at one time. We have a few corporate groups, and we had one time where we had a corporate group that came with 26 drivers. And so that was just one time in 4 years. And so the way I manage that now is with my current BLM permit out of Kremling, we have it where we get to run 2 times per day with up to 10 machines per trip. And every time that we have a group that wants to exceed that, I call the BLM, we put in a request for an amendment, and everybody wastes a bunch of time granting that request, and they always do. But with this 30, I don't know that we'd ever get there. It just makes it easy that we can say yes to our customers and accommodate them. On a normal day, it's much less than that. What the future holds, we just don't know. But I'm just trying to make it so it's just simple and we're not restricted to where we're saying no to customers. The other piece with tearing up the roads, you could check my references with the BLM and Kremling. We actively say no to people when the roads are in bad shape, or when we can do damage, we just cancel. And so I understand exactly what Mr. Irwin is saying about making ruts, they never go away. There are times when you shouldn't drive through the mud, and we actively try to prevent that. So, and that's something you can't hardly put into words. It's a management thing. You have to okay, it just started raining, we didn't think it was gonna rain, we have to get out of here, and now we're stuck. So we're gonna have to drive through the mud. But my rule is if the mud's sticking to the tires, when the vehicles come in, the next batch doesn't go out. We just cancel them and say, sorry, it rained. So.
I trust your observations, your experiences, and your ability to follow best practices with that. I think what raised a bunch of flags in the community was 4 times 30, when that's coming from us, when it sounds like to run this business, he doesn't need 4 times 30. It would be at the most 130, and then the rest could stay at a different level. I've gotten a ton of comment that just flooded in this morning, and I'll make sure to share that with you about local concerns from the community, and whether I see eye to eye with that or not, it's part of my job to be a voice for the people who aren't in here in this room right now, who are all emailing me, kind of freaking out about holy crap, we're gonna see 120 new vehicles a day. I tried to explain what we had discussed a little bit in that previous meeting, and I really hoped that we would have had a work session on this one, because without that work session, I don't know if we have enough time to sit here and hash through all the questions. I would have loved to have
The level of micromanagement and how deep that gets and how you put it all into words gets complicated. That's why I just tried to simplify it.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys give me the opportunity to manage it. Because I want to try and be out there in a manner that doesn't really bother anybody.
I guess where my concern is that if we open this door for you, then we're pretty obligated to treat everyone equally. And we've got a lot of other operators in the area who would love to see those kind of numbers on their permit as well. So I worry that I trust you, I wanna make things as easy as we can for you. What are the unintended consequences of us just running with this? So I'm open to the idea of amending some numbers or making some changes right here on the spot, since we didn't have the opportunity to sit down and have a work session on this. I've just got a lot of voices coming at me right now that are upset. I think it's also important to kind of explain that what we've discussed in this room publicly already kind of alluded to. Your average person on the east side isn't gonna notice an actual increase. This just kind of legitimizes or gets us. Can you elaborate on why your average person on the east side might not notice an actual increase if this passes?
Well, I think it's really based on, Tim's sharing of, this is the perception that this is 120 round trips, like I talk about in the staff report. The actual occurrence of that is probably very unlikely. And based on, and so I think that there is a lot of room for deciding potentially today, if there's any desire to that, what is manageable, what seems like a fair and equitable based on the usages there. So if what is being maintained, and I would say that you know, there's been operations on the east side for the last, I think we had one outfitter that has increased the degree of use, but you know, historic access and usage on the east side has been relatively the same. We had one additional outfitter over the last 4 years, 5 years maybe, that we've had an additional commercial guide up there. So I would say that you haven't, and we were able to quantify that's up to 4 times a day with 10 machines. So we weren't receiving a lot of concern about potentially where that was at, but the concern was moreover exponentially increasing that. And so the ordinance unto itself really limits any future operators. So I do think that it's very real to consider an equitable approach to this, to the limited 3 outfitters that have historically operated in Lake County. But I do think that there will be noticeable, somewhat, I think that what we're hoping is with permitting and practices, that our commercial users are really generally are good players. You know, they're the ones that are held, they are held to a different standard than the public is. And so I think that really speaks to kind of what you're getting at too, Matt, is that when you have a managed scenario versus, you know, one of the bigger concerns was a lot of new rental companies where people that are not aware of the area are just renting machines and going out on a regular basis. That's the kind of impact that people on the east side feel, is that they're not being controlled, they're not being managed, they don't have experts helping them. And so I think the degree of impact is less when you have a commercial guided tour than when you're flooded with you know, people coming in from out of the area. We hear about that, renting equipment in other places and bringing it here and operating in that matter. I think that's when you feel those impacts differently. Overall, I think that all of our existing companies have been able to demonstrate that they are really conscientious and that they are working very hard to ensure these annual permits are in place, that their BLM permits in place, their Forest Service permit is in place. There are a lot of different layers, and their own personal liability obviously is another driver. So there's just a different level of investment. Does that kind of speak to a little bit?
Yeah, it's trying to assure the community that, you know, like, your pie is the same size, it's gonna be the same size. The pan might be a little bit bigger, you know, like, but basically what we're doing is allowing you to have some flexibility in when you're gonna be doing a real small tour versus the once in a while when you have a big one. I feel like it was kind of bumping up to 120 machines a day. That feels maybe a little bit overshooting the bounds. And in the name of simplicity, I get why you guys took that approach. My concern is just that what happens if we see that? When do we get to revisit this? When do we get to, you know, say, whoa, we made a mistake, this is bananas, you know?
Well, it is harder to pull that back. You do it that annual review, so you're looking at it on an annual basis. The reporting requirements of that annual review is really based on how did the operation, how were operations over the previous year. So you get to measure that on an annual basis. But it is much easier, I think, to do incremental increases once you are assured that the adverse impacts have been properly mitigated, that we're not having concerns. So I think that it's easier to maybe start and approach it from a really equitable share, and then consider, what if anything is a viable incremental increase over time. But you do get that annual review. That's really based on why we did it and didn't do 3-year permits, is to be able to have that ability.
And I would like to throw in there, if anyone had a concern at any time, they should tone it back, do something different, give me a call. We can address it immediately. I truly wanna be here in a way that doesn't bother anyone.
Yeah.
I just in my experience, it's 120 sounds like a lot, but I'm not sure that anybody's gonna notice. Because I run 70 snowmobiles 4 times a day up down a trail. And yeah, it's definitely busier, but does outside onlookers really notice the difference? Not so much. If you had to compare it to like a road in town, how many cars drive by the courthouse on a given day? It's probably a massive number nobody would expect, like 20,000.
I've sucked a lot of dust in my day, that's
Yeah.
one of the big ones that jumps out at me with,
And I'm not intending to put all 30 in one batch.
yeah.
Or would, the intentions would be to spread them out. That's why I like to put 7 machines with a guide, and that seems to be a pretty good number. And there's a lot, I would say over 90% of the time, it's less than that.
I can see, like you said, if you split it up, 2 or 3 vehicles going different directions, probably wouldn't even notice it with
Yeah.
that. But 30 at a time, that's quite a few to see on the road one time.
Yeah, the intention there is to split them up. It's not to run 30 in a row. The wagon train doesn't work good just for what you said with the dust.
You end up with the,
Tim, is your base of operations out on 91?
It is.
So when you typically run a tour on that blue, that's all private property, no one's gonna know you back there, except for, there's a few houses along the river there.
So that's all birds that land in water in the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And this summer ATV operations, I'm not intending to run it there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good place for it. What the customers are looking for is they want to go up in the mining district where they can go up high and do the mountain thing. They don't want to stay down in the valley.
So your typical tour would go up Bird's Eye, up the green.
If you guys grant me this, the action will be is with ATVs, I will start working on how to make this work as good as I can. I currently do not have a permit to run ATVs over the BLM.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're asking for the parking in the east side, is because we'll basically just be running them there. And if it looks like it's gonna be a viable business that warrants me trying to find some private property to run from, that is a way better idea than trailering every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll just be looking for those opportunities, but this is kind of feels like the place to start. And the thing that kicks this all off is what happens if winters keep getting drier? You know, I mean, I grew up farming for 20 years, and the one thing you learn is it doesn't have to rain. It doesn't have to snow. This might not be a one-off deal. Next year might be worse. And so it's viability, and it's a little bit if somebody else is running open wheels over the snow, it's easier for me to go with the flow as opposed to trying to do something different. And as we know, the snowmobiles and the ATVs, they don't really go together great, because you put one ATV through there and it makes ruts, then the ruts are there. So whether you run 1 or you run 1,000, the ruts kind of stay the same. So we can just go with the flow, do the thing, and when we get enough snow that we can groom nice, then everybody switches to trucks. And then we all get along that way.
Ann, are these CUPs transferable if Tim was to sell his business?
They are transferable,
So there's no,
but they're annual, yeah, they're,
there's no guarantee that you say we have a maximum of 30 vehicles 4 times a day. You're saying that that's unlikely, but permit says it's possible, so a new owner might be like, all we do is corporate groups and.
Yeah, they have to find the customers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the trick, Tim, it's not personal. It's about
Right.
making sure that we are creating policy that has nothing to do with the people involved.
I understand, putting this into
yeah,
words is
yeah.
super tough.
Well, and I also appreciate that you're trying to make it easier for staff to be like, hey, sometimes this will happen, when I do it over here, it's more burdensome. I really appreciate all that work you're doing. Can you, and I just also wanna echo what Andy said, we were hoping to have a conversation about the whole OHV before having to have this conversation
Right.
with you. So in the interest of like being equitable and looking at the whole process, like Ann is talking about, the point is to collect data, like we don't want this to get ahead of ourselves, so I just,
And I would say
Oh my
this
God,
is a
what?
good opportunity. I mean, you can collect my data and you know if it's okay or not. I really think it will be okay.
yeah, I
And
love
if it's
that.
not, like I said, you guys just give me a shout and say it's not, and I'll tone it back.
When do you, well, I also appreciate that, like, if we were to allow you to go up to 120 a day, say that pops for you, and that's awesome, then you would have been given a permit that, like, gives you room to invest in all of that, and then we pull you back, cause nobody likes it, or it's a totally different board up here. I also, that feels irresponsible to me as a BOCC member.
I don't see any way I can do it without taking that risk.
Okay.
And from a personal aspect, I don't want to do this on a level that bothers people.
Yeah.
So I don't mind toning it back.
So right now we have Leadville ATV, they have a max of 40 a day. And Leadville Off-Road Adventures, they have a max of 23 a day. Like, what number could we get that's closer to that, that's more equitable, that maybe we can, when we have our whole policy conversation, we can also create a tool that gives you room to pop
Right.
when it's an opportunity
Well,
for
so
everybody.
I think it's something I'd like to suggest is that you mentioned we're gonna be collecting the data, which means we're gonna have a count on how many butts are in seats on machines on the trails, right? With someone like Tim, I have the comfort level of being like, okay, here's your max, not to be exceeded. Doesn't matter if you wanna run 10 on one tour and then 30 on another and then 5 on the next one, but like in your per day max. Why couldn't, if we're gonna be collecting the data, couldn't we put it in these guys' hands to be like, oh, I'm allotted 60 machines a day instead of 120, I'm allotted 60, how I get to divide that up is up to me. Is that even something that would be doable if we're gonna be collecting the data anyway to base future decisions on? Then we don't open the door up for this like, oh wow, like somebody, he sold his business, the next owner is great at marketing and now we've got 120 machines up there a day. That we gave them permission to do and they've invested in, and it's gonna be really hard to claw that back because they're, they bought 120 machines, you know what I mean? So
I guess
do you get what I'm saying? Like if,
it's kind of what I'm trying to allow for.
yeah.
But
like-
without actually creating that big max per day, we can have one that's more equitable, more equal, max per day between the other two. And then also, before he starts actually touring this summer, create a lever that anybody could pull that allows for special max permitting. It's like one-offs. So then like Leadville ATV could say, hey, I've got an opportunity to go to 40 on this one day. And they get a certain, like this is the kind of thing we would talk about in a work session.
Yeah. I know, but
So bringing
in the
the,
absence of that, we'll hash it out right now and see what we can come up with, I hope.
Do
well,
you have a work session scheduled for the 24th to talk about the OHU regulations as a whole?
that's what I'm saying,
So there is
can
an
we,
opportunity to either reduce it or.
Tim, is this
Yeah.
something if we approve today, were you gonna start doing tours right away? Is this gonna save your business?
oh, is it this year?
We would move in
Right
that
now.
direction. Our guys are starting right now. So,
And staff does apologize for putting this out of the work session. It really is based on High Country's tour, very expressed emergent need to get this decision before you. So yes, we're prepared. We've provided you with, some information to guide that work session on the 24th. But, certainly acknowledge, that, this was really based on hearing from the applicant and wanting the need to bring this forward today.
Yeah.
So, we have prepped and prepared for that on the 24th, as Candace mentioned, and we've got, a good deal of information in your packets waiting for that.
Yeah, I wanna say yes to this today. What I'm asking, is there a number that we can, pull it back from 120 a day? Is there a number we can pull it back to that's closer to the other two? that you think would still meet your needs, making room and allowance that we wanna talk about how you can also get to your 30-day tours.
I was, the 4 trips at 30 per trip was just a way to make it palatable.
Totally.
If you guys wanted to say 60 machines per day,
It's
instead,
max
and
15.
then just put them out as needed.
I'd even be okay with letting them
60.
do like a cap number, but not like split evenly across 4 things, cause you're gonna get those peaks and valleys in your customer
Yeah.
ridership, so I don't understand why, are we, is there a reason we're kind of bound to this, 4 times an even number, or could we set a max per day and let the operators?
This was a standard that seemed to come in organically from the applications. So this isn't a matrix that we're married to, nor is it something within the ordinance or the standards. It was moreover, it seemed to be a practice that was just part of their general operations and consistency between different applications. So that's what drove the matrix.
Okay.
I
That's
think
awesome.
that's kind of how the Forest Service works with their trips per day also. It's like you can only have so many trips a day, like around Turquoise Lake, but it doesn't matter how many vehicles at a time that you take.
Okay.
It's just you can't go over that amount. I mean, we won't tell you how much they want.
What's that?
There's many ways to skin a cat.
Totally,
Yeah.
we
What would work
appreciate
for you that sort of addresses us not overstepping, open up the floodgates on, say
60
someone.
machines today sounds good. I wouldn't ever exceed that. And that allows us to accommodate our customers.
Yeah,
Welcome.
So,
I feel good about that.
I do too.
60, and what is the other operator is limited to 40, is that right?
Well, PB ATV is limited to 40 a day, and Leadville Off-Road Adventure currently is limited to 23 a day.
And those are based on their ask.
Right.
And
That's just what's in their permit.
yeah, that's what each asked for. So that's based on what their standard operations are.
So this is, 20 over an existing one. We're not going to 120, we've cut it in half. And we're allowing the operators some flexibility to operate, keep locals employed, keep a local business going. What do you think, Tim? Is that?
I'd work with that.
Is that fair to the other operator that has a limit of 40 and then his competitors come in and say, well, I got 60 now? Is that
Because
fair?
that's what they asked for, because it's coming from their permit, so it's not like, it's just
It's not like
based on what
everyone's
people are asking for, is what they're being permitted for.
There's only so much demand, and I think if we're at a point where more people want to, we can have bigger work session, bigger conversation about how is everybody across the board gonna get 60 and what's that look like and are we overdoing it? But my biggest concern was seeing that 120 number, getting some pushback from the community, and I wanted to speak up for that. And then what makes sense, what helps locals, tourism, economic points, and be a little more realistic about that number. I think we got something figured out.
Yeah, and when we look at the full policy, we can look at where the inequalities are, and if we were to bump everybody up to even, what kind of impact would that have? Like, that's on us to do, like, not the operators. So,
I'm still a little trepidation about the wear and tear on the road aspect, that component. You sound like you're following best practices, and I trust you on that. I think on the surface, the appearance here is that we're holding different user groups to different standards, though, with road user agreements, that aspect of things. Like people having to pay extra to chip in on the maintenance of the roads, and we're not, it's just, the appearance is that we're not holding ATV usage commercially to any standard like that.
Well, that's where I think we need to have a conversation about the whole policy and how much does our permit cost and what is that going to, and is
Yeah.
that fair about the use? And there's no taxes on this industry, so we're not generating those taxes. It's just
And we
something
can
to look at.
identify, yeah, we're gonna need a work session on that, but, and we can identify that, it's private users and rentals, not our commercial tour groups. We're not really hitting excessive, massive speeds, with their groups. I watch you guys, you're going pretty chill,
The key is, when you put a babysitter with them, they're not doing donuts, they're not sliding sideways around corners, and they're not turning around to go back through that mud hole over and over.
Yeah, exactly, which blows those holes out, especially after a rain or something.
Is it my understanding that fuel tax is supposed to pay for road maintenance? We all buy fuel.
Yes, the
Highway.
HUTF, the
Yeah,
highway
Which is not
users tax
nearly-
fund.
it's pennies per
Yeah,
dirt road.
which it just doesn't even really cover our roads, and I think when we get to the work session, it's probably a good time to circle back to like asking ourselves like, what are the other, I don't know where your outpost is located, but it'd be really important to know that we have people whose outposts are located, in a place where their sales taxes are actually benefiting the impact that we have, and so I think there's a bigger discussion to be had, no matter what's decided today, about what that looks like going forward.
Yeah, I'm just acknowledging that recreation service has no
Yeah.
tax. And that's something to be really clear on.
So part of that, was the premise for the ordinance requiring a base of operations in Lake County.
Right.
And so, that, for that very point.
Yeah.
So, that is, a part of the ordinance requirements. The other thing that I think would be very important, I think that the public is also interested in this. High Country Tours has submitted their conditional use permit, and so we are in review of that as well. So,
Nice.
there has certainly been progress there, so I just want to mention that we're working directly with that. We're working with the other Leadville off-road adventures as well. So
This is
progress
a-
on conditional use permits as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann. This is a tough one, it's because we've had a lot of emails from people who are against it, and we have to balance our economic viability and the tour, and offering tourists what they want with people that think the east side shouldn't have any tours on it. And I'll admit, when I see 10 vehicles coming through and on my bike, I have a gut reaction like, oh man, is it something that's just a personal problem? Probably. And so I just want to acknowledge all the people that emailed us that would like to see nothing going on the east side, but
I didn't get those emails.
Adam, I hate to put you on the spot, but did you want to give us any input? If this is why you're here, is that right? Would you like to say anything about, do you know anything about demand? Is it increasing? Is it stable?
Oh, I think it's a very viable conversation, especially when we talk about, when there's less snow. We've seen the train and we've seen ATV operators have success. So that is sort of what you might call a shifting of use, right? Where we have fewer people skiing and now, okay, we're gonna have a different use. But I think with every use, it really needs to be thoughtfully considered around overall economic impact for Leadville in terms of how much are we promoting Leadville, how much are people driving up and parking their vehicles in the town of Leadville to then be going out to do tours, how much are they being encouraged to come to our shops in downtown Leadville, go to our restaurants, where are they getting picked up, where are they getting dropped off, and then also how is the maintenance of these roads, which is a shared use, because a major concern of ours is we at the visitor center do not actually tell people to go up onto the route of the Silver Kings without a special vehicle. It's moved beyond, we've received too many complaints from people that have said, I can't get up on the east side without a special vehicle. We tried and got stuck, or we tried and turned around. So that's another really important use for us, is sort of heritage tourism. So we want to make sure that we're really understanding that those minute micro adjustments to the east side that happen day in and day out, that stuff it's really hard for Mike and his team to put that can of worms back in the bottle, so to speak, once the degradation at any level begins. So this is an issue that, again, it's like everything else with skiing, there's always costs associated with doing business, so that's something that I think about a lot in terms of Lake County businesses, Lake County sort of making sure that there's cost recovery associated with all of our use.
Thank you.
Tim, I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of you getting your business needs met. And I just wanna say, I'm really also excited about having the whole OHV conversation. Cause it was started draft form, and now I think it's up to us to revisit it, look at it, how it's going, tidy it up. I think there are a lot of, like you said, a lot of ways to skin a cat. I think there are a lot of permitting tools that we can be using. Like if the community is reading this, it would be easy, me reading it, it'd be easy to think, 30 vehicles all in a line together. You know, as an operator, that's not what that's gonna look like, but helping to create a permit where it's easy for the operator and the public to read, like, maybe this many heartbeats in this area, just like other permitting processes, so we understand that the impact is more dispersed. I just wanna let you know I'm committed to like doing that, so that you're also not getting kind of the backlash from the public thinking that you've got a permit now for a 60 train ATV. 60 ATV train.
We wouldn't have any customers if we ran them like that. The
Exactly.
customers actually would like you to have one guide with just him.
Yeah, but
And we
it's
might
just,
move in that direction.
it's just that the logic isn't clear in the way that
Right.
it's written, so anybody reading it would be like, what are you guys doing? And I don't want anybody to feel like they have to escalate and to like protect something that isn't actually at risk.
Yeah.
So I just wanna let you know, I'm a fan of this, what we've gotten to, and I'm really committed to making it a cleaner permitting process with your considerations to make it easier for our staff and our considerations to make it easier for the operators and the public.
Very understandable. I guess I'm not sure how to put the right wording out there to make it politically palatable.
It's not, I don't know if it's about politics, it's about like being on your
Just the
bike.
community outreach
Up in the
aspect.
east,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just to make it so everybody's comfortable, I guess, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing we're gonna talk about, right, is the comfort level that everybody has, and also being able to differentiate commercial use from just private use up on that east side, because I hear over and over again that it's not the commercial operators,
Yeah.
but y'all are the ones who get thrown under the bus. So if there's a way that we can create policy that helps lessen that tension, we're gonna do it. So, we'll help you,
We're lacking an enforcement component.
yes.
And how do we hold the private users accountable so that you guys stop getting blamed for a lot of the stuff that's not on your plate, you know? It's like, how do we enhance our reporting? Is that something that, you know, people are up there doing donuts in a mud puddle? You know, how do we even know what's happening until you just see the big old gouges in the road and rocks down everywhere? Just,
I don't know how far down this rabbit hole you guys wanna go, but as a permittee for the BLM, I have an obligation to report unlawful acts.
And you lose it if you're not reporting.
We were supposed to report.
Yeah.
And basically, I was reporting and my permit administrators basically got to the point like, Tim, if you could walk up and take a video and get close enough that we could read the sticker on the vehicle and see the faces of the people, I'm like, I can't put my people in that position.
yeah, that's
You know?
really dangerous.
And it's truthfully, it's law enforcement's gig. They're the ones trained to do it. And anybody else who does it is, I mean, I can tell you guys that it's happening from a distance,
Yeah.
but I can't walk up to somebody's face and say, hey, I just need to get a picture of this for law enforcement.
Yeah, someone's gonna,
Totally, that's something we gotta talk about.
yeah.
It used to be a multi-departmental, more multi-jurisdictional ordinance that was put in place, and we gotta revisit how feasible
Right,
it
like,
is.
another example is my permit over there allows me to run up Williams Fork. It's a beautiful ridge line. And it was during the high time when there's just tons of business to be had. And all the rental companies were from Summit, were sending their people out there as well at the same time as us. And those people without guides were making trails all over the place, they were doing the donuts.
Yep.
And tearing up the mud, like when there was a mud hole, they would just sit there and keep doing it,
Wow.
you know? They think that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, they're
So-
from an area where that is a major recreational
Right.
pastime, is looking for mud. And up here, that dirt ain't, once you throw that dirt, it's never coming back.
Right.
You take it right down to the rock and then the trail's screwed forever.
Right, you wreck the water bars, and then they stop doing their job, it's exponential.
Yeah.
And I talked to the different agencies that run that entire stretch. And I'm like, people are throwing me under the bus here, it's not me. And so I just stopped running there. And it's not me, that was my only solution. So I really appreciate you guys understanding that and trying to figure out a way to have a good public appearance. But the reality is there's a lot of people out there that need a babysitter. That's basically what guides do.
Yeah, totally. We all gotta rub along together somehow, so,
Right.
you know, 10 years from now, we'll look back and be like, oh, remember the ATV wars, the OHV wars?
Right,
Before we had hovercrafts.
right, before we were
What?
just flying everywhere.
No, what'd you say?
Before we had hovercraft.
Oh, remember the good old days
Now we
with
don't need
mud
roads
puddles.
anymore.
The personal drones are really starting to take off in China, there's at least 5 manufacturers now.
Oh,
They
yeah.
won't tear up the trails, well, they'll blow dust around.
I always think that's AI, is that real?
It's real, it's coming.
There's legislation being proposed about it.
Kidding.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. Is anybody not ready?
I'm ready, and it's fairly complicated. Thanks for coming in, Tim, and we want you to be successful. And
Thank you.
we appreciate it. We gotta balance business, tax dollars, we gotta help the tourists, and then, again, I just wanna recognize everybody that is totally opposed to this. And the fact is, those are county roads, and the east side belongs to all of us, including the tourists.
Okay, I move that the board conditionally approve file 2602 High Country Tours Commercial Recreation Permit Amendment Application to amend file number 25-39 High Country Tours Commercial Recreation Permit with the following conditions. Condition: tours shall be limited to more than 60 tours per day.
No more.
No more than,
No more. What did I say?
you said more than. He has
You
to
have
do-
to
you
do
have
more
to
than
do
60.
or-
Tim, I hope you heard me.
Only that was-
Start marketing.
No, thank you for checking me. With the condition that the tours shall be limited to no more than 60 tour vehicles per day.
Is that language? Okay. I will second that.
To a vote.
Aye.
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 Sorry, I forgot I'm second now.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, Tim, good luck.
Alright,
Appreciate it.
thanks. Sorry that's like
I understand, there's a lot of.
unclear and, you know, we're doing our best and I'm grateful for my colleagues and the thoughtful approach of trying to fit all the needs that we've gotta take into account and, you know,
The
just.
other thing that staff will work on, I think it would be beneficial to try really hard to get some of those foundational partners that were part of the original work to see if we can get them queued up for the work session as well. I think it'd be really
Thank you.
helpful to, try to see if we can make sure that they're here too, to just kind of talk about next steps.
Thank you, that'd be awesome. If you need any help with us, please let us know.
That work session, I think, is gonna end up being a pretty hefty one, because we're
Yep.
revisiting
A
an
big
issue.
thing.
Yeah, controversial in the community, and we have an obligation to factor in all the different aspects of this. maybe we could look at, how to figure out how to differentiate or start brainstorming ideas on the whole rental issue, because it does seem like rentals can have the opportunity to really paint our commercial operators in a bad light. I
Well,
don't know how to-
they are commercial if they're renting.
Also keeping in mind, concurrently we're working with the city of Leadville, also has an ordinance that rental companies too. So we really tried to, we were working in concert with the city at the time too. And so they passed an ordinance that basically did very similar to what the county's ordinance did. And that was really kind of put a cap of where, where we were at the time that we were doing work. So it prohibits any new operation, rental companies in the city of Leadville too. I didn't know if you're aware of that or not.
No, thank you.
We did work concurrently with them while we were doing the work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Alright, and with your parking areas closer to town, potentially, make sure you're telling your people to head on into town and get lunch and
It'll
hand them some,
automatically happen, they'll just be asking us where.
Yeah.
takes a village.
It does.
The new Colombian restaurant is so good. Just everybody, FYI.
Yeah. I
There's a
just
Colombian
wish,
restaurant.
Thai restaurant yet?
I haven't,
No,
are they open?
Just opened yesterday.
Colombian one's good though.
Where's that?
They don't have it's the
We're
it's
across
Sabor
Sanchez.
Colombiano. It's right next to like where Orison used to distribute. It's on Front Street off of Highway 24 on the south side of town. It's like within the first 3 blocks.
Is it right in front of Tenderfoot? Is it that one?
No, it's on Front Street, so it's on
It's
the,
on Front Street.
yeah, it's on,
So we're Red Key Distributing?
Across from
Yes.
Big R.
So Red Key Distributing.
yes,
Yeah.
we're Breakthrough, isn't it? Thank you.
I didn't know that was a Colombian, I thought that was a Mexican restaurant.
No, it's Colombian, it's
Wow.
very good.
Empanadas and,
Plantains,
ooh,
yeah. Okay,
hey, we digress.
tell them that,
Okay.
Tim. I should have put that as a condition in your.
Yeah, I'm still missing Szechuan taste number 2.
Oh, who
Oh.
isn't?
Oh,
I just got sick of the cold.
Well, all the wives are asking us to take them to the new Thai place.
Oh,
Probably gonna
please,
have sushi.
like you don't also benefit from that.
Alright, well, thank you guys.
Oh,
yeah, thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim, see ya.
I'm out of line, so.
Andy, you wanna do the
Um,
next approval?
Yeah, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
No, you make the motion.
I would like to put a motion on this table to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
To a vote,
Aye.
Aye.
this meeting is hereby adjourned.
Don't we have a little bit of closing statements there?
So, oh, yeah, you're right. Just a reminder that all packet materials for agenda items are available upon request. And then if you'd like to be notified, subscribe to email or text notifications at Lake County Gov list.AMX. We can help you with that.
Yeah.
It's all on the county website. It's 12:44, this meeting is hereby adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.